Hey guys, thanks for joining us again for this insanity over here. Going through the Billy Meier list of pretty fun stuff to talk about.
Yeah, insanity. I love that word. Who gets to choose and make that judgment of what is sane and what is not? And that's so interesting.
Everybody uses
and then psychology is all like, well, we don't really know. I don't know. We need to light one of those things. Let's do this on air live.
Everybody jumps to the fucking...
Isn't that what it's called? Palo Alto?
Yeah, Palo Alto.
Palo Santo.
Everybody jumps. Where's the big lighter?
You put it in the corner.
I put baby in the corner?
Yeah. Don't put baby in the corner. Yeah.
Everybody jumps to Einstein and the insanity quote.
Yeah.
But why is that the threshold for insanity?
And then everybody rags on Einstein. I posted this. I want to read this. This is really, really cool. We have to understand. So in 1905, Einstein published 4 papers, each enough to revolutionize science. Lex Friedman posted this. This is really cool. Don't want to take credit. Number 1, light is a particle, won a Nobel Prize. Number 2, the Brownian motion.
Yep.
This was in 1905 in 4 papers he published. Number 3 was special relativity. Speed of light is fixed. Number 4, energy and matter are same, E equals mc squared. One person can change the world. This gives me hope. That's what Lex Friedman said. So we have the power within us to do amazingly good.
This was just one dude.
In 1 year, 1905, he did a lot more, but...
Yeah, but like, why aren't we all trying to strive to do amazing things? Some people, people are trying. Some people don't give a shit.
And I guarantee if you tested Einstein over and over again, you'd say he was insane.
You would. People would think I'm insane. Even you. We're all insane.
Yeah, we're all insane. It's insane in the membrane.
Insane in the membrane.
Cypher Hills, right? Or something like that.
Yeah.
Rap.
Cypress Hill? Cypress Hill? Yeah. Okay. Let's get back on this list.
The crazies list.
Evolution is real and fact.
Oh, you can see it. You don't have to believe it.
Here's the best part. However.
Ooh,
I love the however. However's are great. Charles Darwin modified some of the bones he used to prove his points. He falsified a lot of stuff.
Oh, a lot of people back then did stuff like that.
Yeah, I read Origin of Species. It was the worst. It was just a horrific book. Terrible. You shouldn't have. Yeah, I mean, and everyone talks about it.
But you have to understand, in his time, in his day, he was onto something. Like survival of the fittest, that part makes sense to me. Like I watched elks do that. You know, like the biggest elk wants to breed with everything so that you can.
But that's also a misrepresentation, because he said things naturally evolve with certain genetic variants. Some genetic variants work better in certain ecosystems. Say I have 2 different types of butterfly out here in the desert, okay? And this butterfly gets poached by a certain type of bird. If one butterfly is bright-ass red and the other one is beige, which one will live longer?
Right.
The beige one.
Mm-hmm.
Does it mean that it's bigger and more fit? No. It was a genetic variant that gave it the probability of survival being higher.
Yes.
It had nothing to do with it. And so what naturally happens? Those begin to procreate more.
Well, the guy that's that top climber just did that National Geographic, the guy that I told you about. That they
Arnold?
Say, yeah. And he was talking on Joe Rogan about this. He said that rocks that they climbed in Chile, and I showed you pictures of them or whatever. It had a completely, because the rock kept the variant for millions of years, it had a completely separate ecosystem on the top. And it was like a forest on the top, but like this alien looking forest. And nothing could go below it. So, because there was so much rock. So it literally lived, and there was clouds and rain up there.
So it just kept getting pushed up and up and up and up.
Yeah, and he said, so the high altitude was like Africa on the top, and then the rest was rainforest below the rock.
That is bananas.
That's evolution. 2 separate ecosystems working. I mean, you could climb up the rock, which they did, and then see that whole... And so the variances were totally different. Everything was totally different. So you climb down the rock, you're in a Brazilian rainforest. So, think about that. That's the idea of all species, is to evolve to where it's put at.
Yeah.
Well, like right now, we're in a high altitude desert in Albuquerque.
Right.
It does not behoove a road runner. They're super cool. We see them running around all the time.
They're great.
It does not behoove a road runner to be, like you said, bright red.
No.
Like on the cartoons. Beep, beep.
Yeah.
They get it. They're all day smacking down lizards and other birds. I mean,
Quickly.
they're ruthless.
They blend in.
Snakes, rattlesnakes. Yeah. So they have to be.
And they didn't blend in
brown.
because it's the bird's jacked.
Yeah, the bird is Jack though.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, like that's not what it is. It's when the people think survival of the fittest, that is just this big.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Like
marketing ploy that is actually doesn't have anything to do with Darwin. It was totally misconstrued.
Right.
It's just genetic variation, and one of them just happened to work better for that environment.
Is the tortoise that he brought from Galapagos Island that's in the London Zoo, is it still alive? I wonder.
It probably could be. They lived for a long time.
They live. Yeah, I think it is. I think that was 400 years ago.
That's amazing.
Yeah, because don't they live for like 1,000 years or whatever?
I don't know. That's so cool though. I don't even live for.
Well, I posted the other day. There's an actual jellyfish that can live forever, and it can, when it gets older, it just regenerates itself into younger.
Is it a man-o-war?
No, it was some other. I forgot the name of it, but you can type in jellyfish that lives forever. But it will make itself younger again and then live again. This is shit. This is shit that you would think that is extraterrestrial.
Yeah, why are you not looking at that and splicing it into your DNA?
Yeah, Google.
Yeah.
They have that longevity science that they're paying billions.
Exactly.
I'm pretty sure they have those jellyfish in tanks.
Why
they're
not?
They're studying them pretty heavy.
Guy's got it in his office. He looks like Dr. No.
But don't you think that nature can solve every problem that we as humans have?
Well, nature is creation, right?
Yes.
So within creation lies all creativity, correct?
Yeah.
So yes, then that is a very logical statement. Thank you. Oh, this one's cool. Several root... Are you good?
I'm good, bro.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Several root languages are of extraterrestrial origin. Sanskrit, Hebrew, German. All those.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
We know English isn't.
No, English comes. Yeah, English is a joke.
Language.
English is a joke.
And isn't it funny that it's the number one? I mean, it's like what everybody.
It's only number one because of conquest
and marketing.
Nothing else.
We had the best movies.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's it. Okay. Some earthquakes and resulting tsunamis are man-made.
Well, don't you have HARP that can control weather?
I'm talking about tsunamis though, dude, and earthquakes. Man-made earthquakes? Oh, well, fracking. Fracking does that. Mm-hmm. Okay, that makes sense. You could just like throw a plate off. This is great. This is awesome. White, black, and Asian races are of extraterrestrial origin. Can we all stop fucking being racist?
We're all extraterrestrial.
Can we stop being racist for 2 seconds?
Well, it's 0.1% variant for skin color anyway.
It's so dumb.
Dumb.
Carbon dating is not accurate. It's off by a couple of thousand years plus or minus.
Everybody's been saying that.
Yeah, carbon-14 dating's garbage anyway. Extraterrestrials made Neanderthals, which they later killed and also mated with them, creating anatomically modern humans.
Yeah.
Okay, so extraterrestrials put Neanderthals here. They genetically made them, killed some of them because they got out of control, mated with the others, creating the Evas, and now you have modern, anatomically modern humans.
Well, that would explain our jump in thought process and consciousness and all that.
Yeah. Why then? Yeah. Why haven't
if
monkeys
you
evolved? Why haven't the long-tailed monkeys?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm always saying. This is my biggest complaint, and I know creationists talk about this too. Like biblical creation and stuff like that. And I agree with them on this. It's like, if we're evolving in stages, there needs to be stages of evolution. There should be half humans. There should be Neanderthals right now.
Oh, there's not.
It's straight up monkeys and us. And they're like, well, it's millions of years. But if I go back 100 million years, and then I go to 101 million years, and I go to 102 million years, and I go to, those variants should be here too.
They should be evolving at the same rate.
Yeah.
Something has to step in.
Dude, there should be...
Why is that not so obvious?
There should be millions of Bigfoots.
That's what I'm saying. Why is this not so obvious? Why aren't people seeing that?
Why aren't scientists seeing that?
Just the humans just like away? There, and you're saying Jane Goodall saying we're a part of the apes? Garbage.
Yeah.
Sorry, lady. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Thanks for all your work studying these primitive things. They have nothing to do with us as human beings. Okay. It just logically doesn't even have the right progression. It's freaking nonsense. All right. Atlantis was one of many globalizations. Okay. Atlantis was multiple places. It wasn't just one.
Yeah, I've heard that before. That makes sense, yeah.
They said the first one was over in the Azores, and then the other one was south of Greece.
For everyone that is watching the video and he's just pointing at the camera.
Just pointing at the camera.
There's a big world map that's like 8 feet that we have in front of us.
I love the world map.
Oh, I do too. Everyone needs one.
I really love the world map.
Get a world map, put it up.
Okay. Oh, the asteroid belt after Mars. That was created from a planet Malona, which pre-human beings on that planet destroyed through a war. They were at war with each other for 300,000 years, and they ended up nuking the planet into oblivion. Blew it up. The whole thing.
Yeah.
And they said that's why the asteroid belt's there.
Well, yeah, that's why aliens were coming around checking us out when we were messing with our
messing with our nukes again. They're like, are we going to asteroid belt 2.0?
Yeah.
You know? Okay. Oh, wow. This is interesting. This will bump people out. We're genetically modified. We know that.
GMOs.
Human beings are GMOs. We're all on non-GMO.
Yeah.
Which extraterrestrials modified us, a certain group of them, the Syrians, to age 10 times faster than normal.
But the Syrians, so the Syrians, it's interesting because they were like badass battle people in the time. So it's like, from the Sirius star system, right?
The Syrians showed up, and they're like genetically modifying us, and they made us age 10 times faster than normal. Okay, so if the average lifespan, say for instance,
80
or
800,
yeah, it's 800 years old. And then you look at, remember those early stories in the Bible?
Yeah, the people were living that long, 700, 800.
Oh.
The longest one was like Methuselah, who lived to like 1,000, but
that doesn't seem out of place.
No.
So if people are living to 100, 120 today, why couldn't someone live to 1,000?
Yeah. You got to tap into that alien DNA. And
think about this. Okay.
Google again.
You got Neanderthals. People come down and breed with the female ones, kill off the males. And then we're going to mess with the genetics. We don't want them living as long as us. We want them to learn. This is an interesting point.
I know where you're going. Let me tee you up. Benjamin Franklin would still be alive today. Imagine the knowledge and wisdom he would have with embracing our technology.
Okay, that's correct. Now, say for instance, check this out. This is going to get strange. Say you're an extraterrestrial. You have a ship with a temporal drive. That means a time drive. You can move forward and backwards in time. And what you do is you have your current group of genetically modified human beings, your EVAs, and you go forward in time. And you're like, They are living to 1,000 years and making really, really bad decisions. Oh, and they're following a religion.
Or if these were imposing on your free will in the beginning, obviously this is negative entities.
Yeah.
Then they would be like, they could have said this, they're making too good of decisions. And we're worried about them taking power.
They could do that. And let's also think about this probability. I go forward in time, they're following religions, they end up killing themselves. Why would I allow them to live a very long time? They end up nuking themselves into oblivion. What if the people doing the genetic modification are completely indifferent? And they have a great concept of reincarnation. So like if we shorten their lifespan by 1/10, you can live 1/10 of what you should be living genetically, and you die many times, it forces you to make harder decisions because you have less time to deal with it.
Right. That's what you're saying. Yeah.
So does that actually evolve the rate? Do we actually evolve at a faster rate because we live a shorter amount of time?
But my thing is, you're still imposing on something's free will.
Well, I know. But I'm saying if these guys went through time, the ones doing the genetic modification, I don't know if they're benevolent or malevolent. I got no clue.
Yeah.
But they looked at it and they say, okay, we've looked through the probabilities, and it made more sense for us to have people's lifespan short because maybe it drives us to study jellyfish.
Yeah, exactly.
That make us live longer. It forces us to be more aware of creation because otherwise we'd be unaware and just walking around like a bunch of hedonists, fucking for 1,000 years straight. You know what I mean? So you have to consider it maybe in the stance of, did they look at the probabilities and actually makes us evolve quicker?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, it could be either way.
It could be either way. It's hard to. It's well, I would.
I would just think that if like if you live for 1,000 years, you know, you're going to have abilities that's going to be amazing. Like if an 800-year-old person came to Earth right now, people would start worshiping him as a god because the amount of knowledge and information he would have.
That's what
just imagine how smart you get by the time you're 70.
That's right.
So imagine if you 10 times that, and then collectively you have, like if you had the World Economic Forum and all those smart minds that are in there, and then they all lived 800 years. You would probably solve climate stability. I have more of a positive.
I absolutely.
And I think religion would go away.
And it's impossible. It would go away. And it's impossible for us to determine why they would do this. You want to know why? First of all, these people would have to be millions and millions of years more advanced than you and I. Correct?
Yes.
They didn't kill themselves, did they? They're still alive. Their species continues to exist. Ours is threatened. It's hard for me to be in their mindset.
Yeah, because, it could be, and like you said, I tend to lean towards more optimistic, but it could be just as negative because the military-industrial complex that was happening, just 100 years ago that really ramped up, those guys would be still young now doing their thing.
Imagine if someone said, Hitler's only 600. He's got another 300 years.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just interesting if you start to look at it.
But we would, it's super interesting. I think we would value life more. I think it would be the opposite. I think we would value life more because you could live for so long. You know what I mean? Like if I take your life, I'm taking 800 years of you instead of 80. You know what I mean?
Correct.
So I don't know.
Well, and they expand upon
this. Is guessing.
They expand upon this. Well, this is why we're talking about this because it's frankly it's interesting.
It's a great thought process for people to go through. So
contrarian, you have to be like, whoa, wait a minute, let's think about that. Well, then it gets into the next part here. We have a particularly short history, human beings.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Verbally communicated or written history because of our aging pace, which is abnormal to visiting extraterrestrials. And they say that Plejaren people have to explain that to visitors on our behalf. So the Plejaren will communicate with other extraterrestrials that are moving through our local system. And they'll look at us, they'll be like, why do they lack history? What's going on here? Oh, they're actually genetically modified to live a shorter period of time. They lack history. This is just their current state of evolution. And they explained it to them. So that means other extraterrestrials that come up, they actually are having conversations. They're not blowing each other up.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yep.
Okay. Elon Musk is going to love this next one. Take a stab at what you think I'm going to say.
There's no such thing as aliens?
No,
it's got to be something to do with he just successfully landed the...
Yeah, you're getting close.
Yeah, this is rockets.
Yeah, Mars was once inhabited.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. Once.
Well, there's a reason why the military-industrial complex is into planetary stuff. And why they're spending money. They're not going to have... What do we got something flying around on Mars now? Don't we have like a drone and a rover there?
Yeah.
Right now?
You're going to find ancient relics.
Yeah, and whether they choose to give that to us or not.
We had Avi Loeb on here, and he wants to start the Institute of Astroarchaeology with us.
Yeah.
He's the world's top physicist, theoretical physicist.
And then also I love... he was on our turtle. I love this idea of, even I was listening to the government official yesterday. He was talking about how much more open-minded the government is towards extraterrestrials now.
Good.
And they even changed the name so that they could talk about it more. Because what's it called now? It's not UFOs.
UAF.
Yeah, and they did that. He said they specifically
aerial phenomenon.
Yeah, they
UAP.
Yeah, they specifically did that so they could open the conversation more. So they're not using UFO.
Yeah.
With the stigma of that.
It's not a flying object, it's an aerial phenomenon.
So I like that we're being more open-minded towards acceptance.
You're right. And phenomenon's a good word, which means in our objective reality it's occurring, we just don't know how to explain it yet.
Yes.
Phenomenon's a much better word for it.
Yeah, because didn't Raw say like 80% of the craft that are flying around
are actually our government?
Yeah, are actually governments. Yeah, so.
Well, we were going to get... Okay.
Here we go.
You're like... I read these too with the translation errors, and it's quite hysterical. In ancient times, today's west was in the north, and today's east was in the south. So the Earth has actually rotated its axis, if that makes sense. which is why we find buried jungles and everything in areas where they shouldn't be.
Or seashells on Mount Everest.
Yeah, and I've talked about Norway. Why the palm trees, the fossilized ones are there. I explained this.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to work with the lady whose father found this in his yard in Upper Norway. He was digging around for his farm, and he's like, what's this? And then all the scientists end up going up, and they're like, there's a fossilized palm tree up here? What does that tell us, you know? So that's fantastic. That's obvious. Yeah. You know, you were talking about Somalian, like, UN airdrops.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Aid to the third world causes dependency and later immigration.
Well, that's true.
Yeah. Just look at the data.
I mean, and we talk about this at Tartle. Sign up for tartle.co. But we talk about this is education.
Mm-hmm.
You have to give people education.
Yeah.
And in that education, give them the right to work. You know, so educate the right to work. Don't give people something because they don't have the ability to understand how to use it properly.
And you're eradicating responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think extraterrestrials don't hand us UFOs?
Well, I'm going to give you a prime example. Probably one of the most primitive cultures is the one where they killed the missionary guy here recently. He went to this island and they'd never seen people, I guess, or whatever. And so he went there and they just killed him right off the bat, you know, because it's something different. Here's a different colored person. Let's kill him. It's a threat to our island.
He's a freaking threat.
So, yeah, it was funny because he was all excited and doing videos about how he's going to save these people. And then
I bet you are.
Right out, you got off the boat and they were.
Yeah, you got saved with a spear through the neck.
So, but you take somebody like that and you just started dropping chocolate and.
They're like,
think
what
about
the
that.
hell is chocolate?
Well, they taste it and they've never tasted anything that amazing before. Then they're going to make themselves sick.
Well, and then you become expecting.
Then they're going to be like, when's the next drop from the gods?
Yeah, I don't even have to work. You know what it reminds me of? The SpongeBob episode?
Yeah.
Magic conch shell?
Yeah.
And they're out there in the jungle with Squidward, Patrick, and SpongeBob are. And they pull the shell and they ask Magic conch shell, what should we do next? And it says, do nothing. And so they sit down when they're starving to death. And then a plane's flying above, and the guy's screaming because the plane's too heavy. He says, we got to drop the load. And he presses a button, and all these resources fall. Fire's lit, food's there, and then they continue to end up worshipping this thing that's occurring. No work is done, nothing. It's a totally distorted reality at that point, and there's no evolution because you can't test.
Mm.
So if people don't work, if they don't educate, and someone just hands them something, you essentially stall their state of evolution.
Yeah, drop vials of penicillin down and see what happens. They're not going to know how to use it.
Think about Social Security here in the U.S. Or,
welfare system.
Think about the welfare system. The government would want to keep you on the welfare system.
Yeah, then you're dependent on them. 100%.
You become dependent. Now the government has more power.
It's gone against your free will.
Yeah, and you think it's great because you're getting $600 a week.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and then they want you to have more kids. Because then those kids get tied into it, and you're like, oh, I'm going to get paid more for having more kids? There's no reason for me to leave. There's no reason for me to work. And then the government steps in, they take over every control of your life, and then you don't have to think. You don't have to act. Mm-mm. You don't have to work or live.
No, because you live in government housing. You have government-sponsored food. Mm-hmm. That it's going to be the cheapest and the worst food for you. You're going to have government health care.
Yeah.
You're going to have everything. You're just a cog for the government.
It's a de-evolving state. You just become a piece of cattle to them. Is that what you want?
You have no
I don't
purpose.
Want that for you.
You have no purpose. You're just watching TV, smoking weed.
I don't want that for those people.
No.
That's not a good life.
Work is very, very important.
It's so important. Having a purpose or a point of focus is amazing.
For everyone. All of humans need that.
Whether you want to be a specialist in building birdhouses, or you want to be a farmer, or you want to run a giant company, have a focus. Work towards those things. Evolve. Make errors. But this other lifestyle says you don't need to commit errors. You just keep doing what you're doing here. Everything's fine. Totally statistically flatten the value of you as a human being, and we'll take care of everything for you. So where are people going to go? They're going to go towards governments. They're going to go towards nations that just pay for you to just have no responsibility.
Right.
What about people that are destroying their country because of like open mining and stuff like that, and they think it's like beneficial?
Well, see, that's the problem when you're giving aid to peoples, and you're thinking of them as less than you.
Oh, that's also
you
the
see what
hierarchy
so I'm
thing, too.
giving. I'm a government, and I'm giving you something. Well, now you owe me something back. You know what I need from you? That lithium.
Mm-hmm. That's precisely correct. It's just it's a tool for control.
Nothing given is given freely, especially when it comes from a government or a corporation.
Correct. Next one. International sanctions are stupid. These words are hysterical. Yeah, they are dumb. Why would you inhibit the natural flow of something? It's like when we have dams. I don't like dams. I disagree.
No, they've already proven there's so much better ways.
Yeah. Why? And like, imagine a dam is like blocking the blood flow in your own body. You don't want a clot, do you? We all know clots are bad. Why would we artificially do that to the earth?
I want to have somebody on the podcast. Probably on Tartle's podcast, but that is pro-nuclear. Because I've been reading a lot about that, how safe it is now. I know this just puts people up in like a tangent, and I may be wrong. So I've just read a little bit about it. I'm not an expert. That's why I want to get some experts.
Yeah, I would love that.
But they said that if we went nuclear, and like we're way safer than what was happening in Chernobyl and Japan and all that. But if we went nuclear, it would solve all the energy problems. I mean, just like that. Like we could get rid of all the dams. We could get rid of all the
just use
coal,
fusion, not fission.
Everything. Yeah,
fusion nuclear. We've had the technology for years. A long time.
Yeah, they said we've gone like hundreds of years from the 80s. We've gone hundreds of years in advancement on that. So, yeah, it's just interesting to me. And I don't know if that's, from the stuff I've read, like I said, I want to make this a disclaimer. But these are the conversations that we need to have.
Right.
As a human species.
You're correct. And if we want to continue that conversation, you got to come back for part 3.